consultant interface, then of course it would not be so theoretical. It will be driven by examples and real happenings, and how do we fit our concepts into
Rachana,
it.
where are you? Please join.
Right, sir.
So that is what we were discussing. So somewhere in the middle, you also should be able to tell, because these are not kind of slides which I make for my presentations. These are very busy slides. They are academic heavy, and that is because I want to give a structure, at least some basics that should be in place, and from the exam point of view. And of course,
yes, sir, it is very helpful, because not all of us, like I couldn't attend the last lecture complete, so this is very, very helpful. And end of the day exam to pass करनी है, उसके बाद हम आएंगे. So yes.
Exactly.
तो जो typical sir होता है ना कि चलो like 2 sentence बोलो और बाकी का सारा additional आप add on करो, वो knowledge sharing के लिए काम आता है, लेकिन exam के लिए तो you need a visually heavy slide. So thanks very much for that.
That's true. And if I keep less material, because I follow a completely different formula for my presentations, where there would be much more animations, pictures, this, that, and very less material on each slide. But then it will go into thousands of slides. Already this file has 140. Of course, you can leave aside maybe 40, 50 out of that, even then 100 slides. So this is more of a, academic structure of the, the bones are there, and we will develop the flesh around that. That is the idea.
That is but very helpful for an exam point of view, sir.
Yes, because I have been on the diploma board for 4 years. I have taught batches, so I understand. And most importantly, I have done my evening studies along with private sector jobs of DCM and escorts for 5 years.
Awesome.
So therefore, I am fully aware of what it means.
You have been on both sides of the table, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So that
so because you were on the board, I do not know, but this is one of the questions which is really, we are asking this, but we are not getting a very clear answer. So just your opinion about the project that we are supposed to do. Now, this year, they've reduced the project from 200 marks to 60 marks.
Oh. Frankly, I wouldn't know that. Till the last batch, there are a few students who are in touch with me, particularly 81, because they are bang in the middle of that. So for them, there were 3 documents that ISTD had given. And these 3 documents kind of cover the expectations that they have in the project. But frankly, I didn't know about this reduction.
Not an issue, but the last year का हमारे लिए useful नहीं है, because ये जो 60 marks वाला है ना, वो इसी साल से चालू हुआ है.
Right. So I am not aware of that. And I was in the diploma board long back, 2004 to 2008.
Okay.
So that is why I was out of touch. Then when I started teaching, then I got back, people approached me for guiding them. Then I looked into all the rules and all. So that's how I have an idea till the 81st batch.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. So
Hi, sir, if you don't mind, I have a request.
Yes.
Yeah, sir, actually, this is my first class with you, sir. So previous class, if you just, give me a small brief, it will really help. I have some medical issues, sir, so not able to like...
No, I fully understand that, but Arvind has done a wonderful thing. I think he has put it up on the YouTube already.
Yeah. Chandrani.
Yeah, Arvind, could you please share me the link there?
Yeah, we already have the videos on the YouTube for session 1 and session 2. I have already shared, I guess, in the group, but I'll again reshare the group.
Thank you very much, Arvind. Really nice. Thanks a lot.
Arvind ने share किया था, so आपने group देखा नहीं होगा, because just today
I
morning.
will check, Vinita. Please, thank you very much. I'll check this time. Okay.
Right.
I'll check.
Yeah. So hope that answers your query.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks. Really thanks.
Because technical things, if you ask me, I am a complete zero. Huh? IT means income tax for me. So you should be asking the questions to the right person. Otherwise, of course, I am not in the habit of giving wrong answers. I'll tell you that I don't know. That's the way I do it.
Sir, it is your humbleness. Otherwise, you keep doing a lot of IT in your day-to-day tasks.
Not really. Not really. That's really nice of you to say, but that is not true.
Sir, I am telling you one issue that I faced. I am a person from IT, but I have not been using PowerPoint a lot. So
Uh-huh.
in our last class, like you said, why don't you run a slide from 50th slide, right? And because I'm not much aware of about PowerPoint, I didn't know how to start from 50th slide.
Oh,
Started from first and reached till 50. And then,
that is courtesy my daughter. I have learned these things before she ran off to Canada.
yeah,
She has taught me these few things.
after the class was over, but after the class was over, I actually learned how to do it. So yes, it is easier for me to learn, but again, I mean, I do not know each and everything in IT. IT is very vast, and like only if I talk about Microsoft Office, no one knows Microsoft Office. Everything about Microsoft Office. Forget about the broad area and spectrum of IT. So you actually manage whatever you actually have to. So like you have been doing things and you have been doing it much better than even me, whereas I am in IT. So can we start, sir? It is already like 10 minutes past 6 and we have 12 people today. Seems like, people are, because of Saturday, people might have got stuck and they are not able to attend.
Right, Arvind. Yes, yes, sir. We can start, sir.
But we can reconnect to them and they can reconnect. Like I had a call with a few of them and they said that they are stuck up in the office and they are not able to connect. Like Anamika, she said she'll be in the office and she'll try to catch up, but she was expecting that if we record a video and put it for them and they can have a look about the class today. So sir, can we start now?
Yes, I thought there was a break in my connectivity, or am I audible now? Is it all okay?
Perfectly, sir, perfectly.
Very much
Great,
audible, sir.
great.
Thanks a lot.
Sir, you are audible. Sumit sir, are you there? Seems like he has some
I
connectivity
think he
issue.
disconnect,
No, he's
logged out by anywhere.
see he's connected, but maybe his microphone.
No connection, Arvind. Sir is not there.
No, he's there. I mean, I can see him here. Oh,
But
now,
no voice from your end, Arvind. I mean, sir, not able to hear.
him.
Muted.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's go into the slideshow.
Okay, sir. I'll do that. Sir, this is the 58th slide.
Fine. So this is fine. So we will move one click at a time. This one is fine. We have already covered this. So let me begin by saying that, basically what we understood last time is that OD is a term we use when systematic and planned changes are happening either in the entire organization or at least a substantial part of the organization, which means at least one division. If the organization is very big, then maybe one division is undergoing planned and systematic changes, which could be termed as OD. So now in this slide, you find that what does it say? Read the second para. The orientation is action. What does that mean? Achieving results as a consequence of planned activities. And the first para is what I explained. It is a total system change, right? So total system change could be the entire organization, or total system change could be a large part of the organization, maybe vision or something like that. So that is the whole idea of OD. What is our target? What is our objective? The human and the social processes have to be touched through our OD.
Sir, we are not able to hear you again.
Arvind, उनके connection में problem है Arvind.
Yeah, seems like there is a problem in connection.
I think there are connectivity issues. I don't know at my end or where.
Yeah, there were connectivity issues, but now we are able to hear you, sir.
Okay, fair enough. So that is what the concept of OD is. As I was saying in the beginning of the discussion today, we have twin objectives here. The limited objective is the exam that you have to face in ISPD, which is why I create these slides in this manner. These are more academic orientation. They will give you a basic structure of the concepts of OD. The other part is the application part, and I always lay stress much more on that part, because once your diploma is over for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you will be using this in your organization, either as an employee of a large organization or as a consultant to any other organization.
Sumit sir, we are not able to hear you again. Hello sir, can you hear
Arvind
me?
जी,
Yeah.
सुमित साहब को पूरी तरह लॉग आउट करके लॉग इन करने के लिए बोलेगा.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
सिस्टम लॉग ऑफ
Maybe-
करके लॉग इन करने के लिए बोलेगा.
Right. I'm giving him a call.
Okay. So we can move to the next, Arvind. I think we've covered this one.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was calling you.
I just saw that. My mobile is on silent because any important meeting I keep that in silent. So I just saw the light. Now, yeah,
Sir,
tell me.
next time,
Next.
Sir, next time in case if your network goes off, you can restart your system and then log in, because sometimes what happens is it continuously creates problem.
Oh,
The network.
I see. Okay. So re-login is a better option, is it?
Restarting the
Oh,
system.
restarting the
and
entire
then,
system. Okay. Fine. No, which is why I was trying to put on my laptop also. I'm doing it from the desktop, which is what I normally do because the screen is bigger. So that is the thing.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So can we move to the next?
अरविंद जी,
Rakesh, I have just asked Sumit sir to.
डुअल कनेक्टिविटी इशू है उनका, शायद पैरेलली मोबाइल पे कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, बैंडविड्थ उसलिए चेंज हो रहा है.
Right. I can see that also. मैं उनको बोलता हूँ कि फिर वो कनेक्ट करें.
Should I restart, Arvind? What is your
Yes sir, you should restart your system once and then connect. क्योंकि वो फिर नहीं तो फिर कभी-कभी लॉग हो जाता है सिस्टम में, वो क्रिएट करता है प्रॉब्लम नेटवर्क में काफी. तो once you restart your system and then connect.
अरविंद जी, उनको अपना मोडम भी रीबूट करने के लिए बोलिएगा.
हाँ, right. That can also be sometimes a problem. Sumit sir is restarting his system. Please give 2 minutes. In the meantime, we can discuss. We also can discuss about OD till the time Sumit sir is back.
And have you at least started, Arvind, preparing for the project?
Yeah, we can talk about the project, but I just wanted to share one thing, Rakesh, with everyone here. Since we are into OD and change management session, people who are really interested in OD and change management. One is Sumit sir is actually a very good person for OD and change management. But apart from this also, I came across a very good course. It's a 2 years program about OD and change management from TIS.
Okay.
And this is one of the best in the industry. इसके कंपैरेबल में फिर एक ही 2 और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है. एक है इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल डेवलपमेंट IOD. उसका जो कोर्स है दैट इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द बेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड, फॉलोड बाय ATD. और इंडिया में सबसे अच्छा जो होता है वो टिस का कोर्स है, OD एंड चेंज मैनेजमेंट का. एंड दे एक्चुअली स्टार्टेड MBA इन OD एंड चेंज मैनेजमेंट, 2 years प्रोग्राम. और काफी सस्ता भी है. I inquired with one of the professors in TIS, who actually teaches at TIS, and he said that program is like 4 lakh rupees the course fee and 2 lakh rupees for residential expenses. But it is like a residential program. You have to go there and live in the campus. But that is the best for OD and change management for people who actually want to go deep dive into OD and they want to establish as a consultant. But apart from that, there are a lot of small and big courses. Like ATD also has very good courses about OD and change.
Yes. Hey Arvind, so TIS, don't they have any part-time? So working professional, so really it's problem, going for a residential course. So you really will have to quit from your job and then you can go for it.
Part-time also.
They do? Okay.
There is a part-time 6 months program from TIS, which costs about 1.5 lakh rupees, I guess. And that is all about OD and change management. And that is also very,
Arvind, I have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, Arvind, tell me one thing. This 2 paper, that this 3rd semester actually, that is a full new for our batch. This is the first time started, right? So where you get the question and the reference and all about the question answer examination? Any idea?
Say that again, Chandrani.
See, what I wanted to say you that these two papers, first semester, that is full new for our batch. This is the first started, right? So where we get that question paper, how we get prepared, like we used to do first or second semester. We have to take the old question paper and then we read them and then we study like that way. So for here, what we have to do?
ODN change management, I guess, mean your question, if I have not understood it wrong, you said that it has started new in ISTD. But ODN change management has not started new. It was there for a long time. ODN change.
Okay.
And
so question paper is there, right?
I have the question paper and I have already uploaded also, I guess. On,
okay. I will check.
And if not, then I will definitely do that in.
Actually, Arvind, I'm really sorry. What is there? I'm not that much regular in group. Okay. So that is my fault only. So that is the reason I'm asking.
No issues. No issues. Rakesh ji, why don't you add something? You also are a consultant and you have been into training industry for a long time. Rakesh, can you hear me?
I think he is also not there.
Sir is back.
Oh, sir is back?
Okay, that's great.
Great. Can you hear us, sir?
Anji.
Yes, very clearly.
Hello.
What about me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Perfect. Loud and clear.
Great. Okay. So sorry for all the interruptions. I am reminded of our Doordarshan days of growing up when it was a standard thing of interruptions, right? Okay.
Sumit sir, आपसे एक humble request है sir. आपका bandwidth अभी भी low है. So I suggest आप अपना video switch off कर लीजिए. उसलिए strain हो रहा है वो audio पे.
Perfect. नहीं वो कट भी रहा है. My internet connectivity also has been a problem for a long time. I am waiting for the Jio to come in our colony. So cable level dal raha hai, kya ho raha hai? I don't know when that will happen. So it has been a problematic phase.
अभी आपका bandwidth optimized है sir.
Okay, fair enough. Good suggestion. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
It's fine, sir. No, clear.
Okay. So these are slides we wanted to repeat just to get into the connect. So kindly go through and ask a question. When we reach a fresh slide, we will start off with that. So this is just a bit of history of OD, not much to explain really. So we can, once you say yes, Arvind can quickly move on to the next. So the last sentence is the key. Last two sentences, I should say, that OD specialists, whenever we do an assignment, we have to rely heavily on behavioral science techniques. They are listed in a subsequent slide, and I'll briefly explain those when we come to that slide. Maybe a couple of slides later, it will come. And the last part is very, very important. Members of the organization, which means right from top management, board of directors to the employee at the lowest level, everybody, to the extent possible, you should be able to involve. Only then you can achieve the best possible results. Because one of the understandings of group dynamics is that when something is going to affect any particular set of people or an individual, they always are more committed to it when they have been involved in the decision-making process. That is the key thought here in the last sentence. Involve as many members as possible in your frame of, yeah. So I think we can move.
Sir, एक doubt पूछ सकता हूँ? अरविंद सुमित सर का फिर से कट गया है.
It's like
classes up to 7.
अरविंद मेरे को लगता है उनके राउटर में इशू है और कुछ नहीं है.
But he has actually restarted his router as well.
It could not be because of that, because router में जो आ रहा है ना, bandwidth connectivity is showing very low. Though it's showing white, मेरे जो इसमें जो है बहुत कम दिखा रहा है.
Okay.
Seamless bandwidth नहीं है उनके पास और इसलिए वो कट के आ रहा है.
Correct.
Actually, instead of this, he can use all that mobile I mean, hotspot. That is better sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, he's back.
Again, I think more to do with intermittent connectivity, which is a problem.
वॉइस ऑसिलेशन हो रहा है.
Now even
सुमित सर, आप
Arvind
वाइफ
voice, Arvind voice also very faint.
Sumit sir, can you hear us?
Arvind, what is the duration of the class?
It is 1.5 hours.
Okay. Half hour already.
सर कि अपना ना वीडियो ऑफ रखे, सिर्फ वॉइस रखे, तो दैट वुड बी बेटर.
Yes, yes, true.
सर से फोन करके बात कर लो ना.
I don't have number, Vinita dear.
अरविंद को बोल रही हूँ, आपको नहीं.
Oh, okay.
विनीता, आपने क्या बोला?
अरविंद सर को करके बोलो कि वो सिर्फ ऑडियो से कनेक्ट करे अपने से.
Yes, yes, I'll just give him a call again.
Yeah, Arvind, I was thinking मैं फिर इससे मोबाइल से करूं क्या? अगर ये अभी am I audible?
Now it's fine, sir. Now it's fine, sir.
Okay, but then this intermittent connectivity is a huge issue. Let me see. Next time, if it happens, I'll connect from the mobile then, though it will be a very small screen.
That's perfect, sir.
एंड सर आप ना अपना वीडियो ऑफ ही रखिएगा, बिकॉज ये जो इश्यू है ना वो वीडियो के साथ ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करेगा, तो आप अपना सिर्फ ऑडियो रखिए ऑन.
Yes, sir. Vinita is right. Yeah.
Arvind.
Yes, yes.
This is going to be an issue for everybody because the bandwidth all across India is dropping.
You are right. You are right. But the problem is, when Sumit sir lives in an area where they have started, laying down the optical fiber, and that has created, the more of a problem for normal Wi-Fi connectivity also, because
वो डेस्कटॉप से कर रहे हैं या वो अपने मोबाइल से कर रहे हैं? I think मोबाइल से आ गए हैं अभी.
Priorly he was in desktop, but then last time he told it he's in laptop. I mean mobile. Let's see.
If we can connect through the wireline, hardwire it, then it will be better.
It better.
उनको बोलो सर मोबाइल से करो, कुछ भी मत, वीडियो छोड़ो।
बिल्कुल
और
मोबाइल से किया मैंने। Am I audible?
परफेक्ट परफेक्ट।
अपने मोबाइल से कीजिए, ऑडियो ही रखिए, वीडियो ऑन ही मत कीजिए, तो कंफर्टेबल रहेगा।
अभी मैं मोबाइल से ही हूँ।
Yes sir, it is perfect. Can you hear us, sir?
Again, he's not there.
He's there.
Hello.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Yeah, mobile se hoon. Is it okay now?
Yeah, very much, sir. Perfect, sir.
Perfect, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, pardon my lack of IT knowledge, plus of course the connectivity issues that are going on in the colony. Lot of digging and all that. So let's hope Geo comes in. Then it should be better off. We should be better off. That is.
No issues.
Okay.
We are on 59th slide.
Fair enough. So this has been covered. I think we could go to the next. These are already covered last time. We are just asking if anybody has a query or a question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we can move to the next. This has been done. Okay. So now this, the first part, why do we hire an OD consultant normally? The same question goes that whenever we are feeling a little unwell, there cannot be anybody else who knows our bodies better than we do. But why do we go to an external doctor whom we may be meeting for the first time? So the same logic applies here. Plus there are a few more reasons that a person who is an OD consultant has been doing these kind of assignments for a long, long time. So therefore, the kind of expertise he or she brings to the table cannot be there with most other people. Of course, it is possible that you have an internal person who is designated as the internal OD consultant. There are situations like that, but typically there are other issues also that come up because an OD consultant is there a problem again from the mobile also?
Sir, we are able to hear you.
Okay, fair enough. So what I was saying is that there could be an internal person also of a senior person who can be the internal OD consultant because he or she would know the internal working of an organization a lot better than an external OD consultant. But then the other issues start cropping up because this particular person may have an axe to grind with other people. Some of them may be his competitors or her competitor for the next promotion. So an external OD consultant has no such attachment or no such interests. So therefore, will take a much more objective view of what is happening. You know, he is not wedded to a particular way of working of the organization. So the external OD consultant brings in the expertise, does not have any axe to grind with anybody inside the organization, and typically employees and other members of the organization also tend to look at an external OD consultant with a little more respect than, I mean, the views of that person with a little more respect as compared to someone who is an inside. So those kind of things are always there. That is why the first para is explained. That is how the first para is explained, why they generally go for the advice of a professional change agent. Fine. The other 2 points I think are fairly simple. If you have a question, please ask. Else we can move on, Arvind.
Okay, sir. I remember, sir, we discussed about it last week also. So in case if someone has any issues, they can ask a question. Otherwise,
yes,
we had covered it till 62nd slide. So should I move the slide?
On this slide typically wants you. Yeah, just one sentence on this, the second para, that is that when you get into an OD, willing to go the long way. Now you can change. Arvind, please.
Sir, seems like I also had some network issue. I'm just looking in again about the slide.
No problem. We have to help out each other. These are things beyond our control. So
is it visible now?
No. Yes, yes.
Okay. Perfect.
we are on 62 now.
61, sir.
Yes.
61.
61, I think I did finish.
Okay.
Because OD is a long-term process. That's what I was trying to explain. Oh, maybe you missed out. So the last para of 61 I've explained already. Unless somebody has a query, we can move to 62.
Perfect, perfect.
And in fact, Arvind, we were talking of learning from each other. This slide numbering thing, I actually learned from a student, and she was a fresher student in an MBA program. You know, so this, how it is helping us now that without even seeing, I can just mention the number and you can go to that. She was the one who told me, sir, you explain things very nicely. You give the slides also, no problem, everything fine. Thank you very much. But please put slide numbers. I said, why do you want that? Then she says, when I am attending the class, obviously you give so many examples which I want to pick up. So I don't need to copy the slide, obviously, because you are giving us the slides. So I just write the slide number and I'll write the example. That way, when I sit down to study, it will be a big help. And so that is how I started introducing slide numbers. So learning is always a two-way process. So there is no question about it. Okay. So now we are on 62, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fair enough. So now here comes the crux. Right at the beginning, when OD started in the 40s and 50s, Kurt Lewin is credited with this model, which is kind of relevant even today, except for some variations. For example, as we proceed, we will see how three-step model has been converted into an 8-step quarter of our universe. So that is a matter of detail. We'll come to that. For the moment, traditionally, OD is pretty simple as far as this model is concerned. Though it is actually very complex, it is very easy to say. So first thing is, this is the doctor-patient model I briefly touched upon last time. The first step in any process has to be the diagnosis. So what is the problem? Once the problem is identified, it is identified that I am having typhoid or jaundice or malaria fever. The next part is the intervention, where the doctor writes out a prescription and I as the patient have to follow the prescription. That is the intervention. And then when I get out of jaundice, there are certain precautions so that I do not relapse into the original state. The same principle or the same process applies here with a very minor difference. Here, all the three steps are done jointly. While in the doctor-patient case, the diagnosis is almost exclusively by the doctor, barring the symptom that we need to share with the doctor. Intervention, one part is purely by the doctor. We don't write prescription. Maintenance, the doctor will prescribe and we have to follow. So in organizational development, every process is done jointly, at least to begin with, till such time that the organization has stabilized post the changes that have been introduced. And gradually the OD consultant tapers off his or her interactions and moves out. So that is the basic process which Kurt Lewin laid down. Diagnose the problems in the organization. What is it that you want to handle? Then what is your intervention strategy? How do we go about solving the problem? And having solved the problem, we must also put down procedures in place so that we can maintain the state that we have been able to achieve. After which maybe again a new state may be desirable, and therefore again a diagnosis has to happen. So this cycle will go on actually. So as Alvin Toffler has beautifully said, that you got to learn, you got to unlearn, and you got to relearn, right? Okay. So the 2 paragraphs on this, small ones, can you kindly read and see if you have any query to ask? Gradually, you want to make it more and more interactive. That's the idea. So that, as I said in the beginning, there is a twin purpose involved. One is, of course, your exam, ISTD exam, that you need to clear, which is why I'm giving you these in the form of an academic slides, not practice slides. And the second part, of course, is post that, how will you practice? So we'll try to have a healthy synergy between these 2 objectives. So any questions on this slide? Arvind, any questions or anything in the chat? So, or do we move on?
We can move on, sir.
Perfect. Please do. Yeah. So what does 63 say? Whatever 3 points I gave you on the previous slide, that is what it talks about. First para. Okay. Now comes the example in the second para. Read this carefully. This is a typical problem. Anybody of you who has worked in the manufacturing setups particularly, this is a perennial problem. Sales people will say production has not done a good job. That's why our customers are unhappy. And production people will say the sales guys don't know a thing. They can't sell. Oh, there is a Hindi saying called Nach na jane angan teda. So therefore, that is what they keep on blaming each other. Okay. So what does the OD consultant do? So the decision taken is, maybe we establish a permanent task force to monitor the relations between them and straighten out any problems before they go out of hand. So some kind of a mediator between sales and production. It could be an individual or it could be a team. So it depends on, the OD consultant himself or herself can act as that person who intervenes, checks out both the sides, understands both the perspectives. It is like what exactly happens in a court of law. Both sides have their stories. So someone has to listen to, the honorable judge listens to both sides of the story, and then a conclusion is derived. So here also, the OD consultant or the management may bring in a neutral sort of a person who, or it could be, if it is a large company, it could be a set of 3 people or 5 people or whatever, who coordinate between sales and production and assess objectively as to problems. And how that problem is sorted out, when we come to the steps, we will see that. Okay, I think we can move on. Any of you, whenever you have a query, please address it in either in the chat box or to Arvind, and I will try and answer that question to the best of my ability. Let's move.
Sir, I have moved the slide. Should I move it again?
Got 64, right?
Yes, sir.
You are on 64 because I am not operating it from the mobile, is too small a screen. I am doing it from my laptop. So
Yes, sir.
just tell me the number, it's fine. So 64 I can see on my laptop, not an issue. Okay. Here again, I don't think there is much to explain unless there is a query. Fine. Let's move on. So 65 talks about even if the consultant is not part of or is not the judge between or the coordinator between the two departments, the OD consultant still meets with the members of the task force periodically and help them in ironing out any difficulties. Remember, the OD consultant has got a lot of experience of handling these kind of situations in different organizations. So even if you have set up a task force, they are trying their best, but an independent opinion from the outside is always possibly a plus. And that is what is mentioned here. So whatever the task force recommends, if the OD consultant finds that there is only half-hearted commitment, the sales people or the production people or both, they are not really committed to the kind of decisions that are taken, then the OD consultant may again intervene and try to sort that out. And see, the only way to motivate people to understand why a process is needed is to show them how they benefit from that. This is true of individual motivation. This is true of group motivation. Motivate organization to how whatever you're suggesting is going to help them. Or will be known as this and that, and will all grow and all everything, but I will not give you any promotions. I am not going to give you any incentives. So you keep on working so that the company becomes number one. Sorry, that won't lead you much further forward. Yeah. Okay, next please. Okay, now the techniques. We can go one by one. There are 4 of these which are very frequently used. Unstructured interviews. Now, any of you recall your, if you have studied formally organizational behavior, how many of you recall your Hawthorne studies? Does the name ring a bell, or the Hawthorne studies? Because unstructured interviews was established, a wonderful technique from there on.
Yes, sir. I have studied organizational behavior, management process, and organizational behavior.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you must be familiar with Hawthorne studies.
Yeah. I cannot recall because
as Rachna was pointing out, I don't remember exactly what he said, but name rings the bell.
Yeah. That's how I understand that OD is part of organizational behavior and management process. So now I'm yeah.
Okay, so
yes, sir.
since
Yes, sir.
this is a very important link, let me very briefly touch upon that. See, basically what happened was somewhere in 1924 it started.
Yes, sir.
This was very engineers internal. You know, industrial engineering department tries to study the man-machine relationships. What
Yes,
to
sir.
do, how to make people.
Hello. So
Yes,
you are
sir.
not there.
I can hear you.
Hello, sir. Can we hear? Can you hear us?
Yes.
And these were, those, it was not communication as we have it now. So I guess.
Sir, excuse me, sir. आपने last बोला वो सब drop हो गया, हमें कुछ भी नहीं.
All over 3,000 people at plant, which was a plant of the company called Western Electric Company. And the place where it was located in the US is called Hawthorne. That is why they came to be known as the Hawthorne studies. That's the name of the place. The company is Western Electric, and their industrial engineers were trying to check the principles that were laid down So what happened was those many experiments are conducted. There were 4 major ones. One was typically the lighting experiments, where they reduced the intensity of light, increased the intensity of light, and their results were observed not only on the experimental group of workers as to how their productivity is varying. There was a control group also, typically as happens in all scientific experiments. Interestingly, the control group where no change had happened, they were also showing better productivity. So all these kind of things had no scientific basis. So in somewhere in 1927, 2-3 years into the experiments, they were very confused. And that's when they approached Harvard University, where Elton Mayo was a professor. So he and his team, which included big people like Roethlisberger and all, who later on became famous, those people went into these studies, reconducted some of the experiments, and started looking at it from the human perspective rather than from the pure machine perspective. And gradually they were able to show that how these are human issues which are affecting the productivity positively or negatively, mostly positively, because when you observe human behavior, they tend to give you their best effort. But there are many experiments opposite of that also. For example, a men's group and a women's group. The women's group was able to deliver all the results that was expected of them, asked of them, but the men's group was not doing. So these, though both were equally competent. So these were the kind of issues that were coming up, which had no scientific explanation. So as an offshoot of that, one of the experiments was interviewing the workers to know more. So initially the researchers went with, I purposely didn't cover the first 3, which essentially deal with lighting. Second was about pauses, rest pauses. Third was this men and women groups. And the fourth I'm talking about, where they went around interviewing the workers. But what they noticed was that the workers were not at all forthcoming. So why were they not forthcoming? They had proper questionnaire, everything was there, but they were not giving the researchers much of info. Then they reversed the pattern of questioning. They dropped the questionnaire basis. They just walked into the shop floor area and started informally conversing with the workers. Hey, how's the day? What's happening in your family? That kind of thing, just general chit chat. And to their surprise, they realized that as they went into this informal kind of communication, they were able to derive much, much better inputs. The workers were willing to share a lot more about their work, likes and dislikes and all of that, than when they were actually going with a formal question. So what was the explanation? Again, a human explanation. When I go formally to you with a questionnaire, and you are answering and I am writing it down or whatever, which is called a schedule actually, when the researcher puts down the notes, then what was happening? There was a scare among the workers that these are management guys appointed by the management. They will create some problem for our job, etc., etc. So better not give them too much information. Whereas when they acted as friendly people, not starting with anything to do with work, starting informally, gradually the discussion progressed into a lot of sharing. That is the kind of big time origin as to why unstructured interviews are better in getting to a lot of sensitive information as compared to a structured questionnaire. So now we use that technique in OD. We start very informally. If you remember, I talked about appreciative inquiry also in the last session. So when you start on a positive note, generally talking here, there, everywhere, gradually, because after all, the researchers are experienced, they will gradually take you on to the things that they want to know. But outrightly, if you ask specific questions about work, they are not very willing to give it to you. That is how the origin happened. And today it is a standard practice that we don't go equipped with pen, paper, and etc. We just have informal discussion as we do with a friend, you know. For instance, when we go to a friend's house, we just sit down and chit chat, and maybe the whole day we do it. We don't even know. There was no agenda that we carried with us. Whereas in business meetings, we have an agenda around which we discuss. So unstructured interviews became a very, very potent tool for human interactions to get to what information you need. So if that is all right, then we will proceed to the next technique. And I would strongly recommend read up a little bit on Hawthorne studies. You can just Google it either by Elton Mayo, ELTON MAYO, or Hawthorne, HAWTHORNE, Hawthorne studies. You should be able to get. Yeah.
So can I interrupt? So I'm
Please,
just interrupting. So actually, this is in the this chapter of History of Human Resources Management. History of Human Resources Management, right?
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See,
That's why I was not able to recall. Yeah.
Different books will give you this portion in different. For example, if it's a book on OB, it may not talk of human resource.
No. Yeah.
So, but it would be very much there. You see, the point is, organizational behavior is about understanding behavior. Human resource management is about applying that understanding onto management situations.
Yeah, because here Frederick Taylor was a father of scientific management, that is focused.
Right, that's what I said.
Yeah,
Frederick Taylor, scientific management. Henry Fayol was a classical management.
Actually, he emphasized on psychological factors. That's what.
True. But Taylor was all about dividing every activity into small parts. Of course, he achieved a lot of productivity. The human factors behind that productivity, for example, through autocratic leadership, you may get short-term results. Dictators are always able to get short-term results, but the long-term results don't happen.
Yeah, that is under leadership. Yeah, there are certain leadership principles are there. Yeah, that comes into organizational behavior. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
As I said, OD is very much rooted in OB.
Yeah, definitely. It's a part of organizational behavior, isn't it, sir?
Yes. So unstructured interviews is okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fair enough. So next, as you can see, is questionnaire surveys. Now, questionnaire surveys and unstructured interviews, questionnaires are typically in the written form. Now here, see, when you are interviewing someone, your identity is known. But questionnaire surveys can be done without asking the identity of the person. So it is believed, and rightly so, that when you give a questionnaire without asking the name of the person, the likelihood of the person answering them honestly, truthfully, definitely increases. So questionnaire surveys can be a good method to know exactly what is the health of the organization if you can create the questions in a sensible manner. And with today's technology available, the analysis of that also becomes very, very easy, because the machine does a lot of analysis for you. You have to only interpret the data that is thrown up in as a formula, whatever you want, whichever way you want to look at that data. So questionnaire surveys is another method, which is, or technique you can say, which is used to get information about what is happening in the organization so that you can build up a proper OD program. Yeah. Since you all know about questionnaire, I am not elaborating on it. We will see the applications when we come to the actual practice of OD. Okay. The next technique, of course, again, you are very familiar with. We can have all kinds of conferences, seminars, workshops. You know, people can work in small groups, or they can make individual presentations, as happens in every organization. And then those are reviewed. And collectively, a decision is taken as to what is the right course for us. So the OD consultants sometimes use these kind of conferences, seminars, and workshops. For instance, when we do visioning, missioning exercises, we request the management that, you know, as many people we involve, it should not be a top-down approach. So, okay, we know the broad parameters, what is the business of the company. But barring that, if we have to develop a vision and mission for the company and we have to involve as many employees as possible, there are techniques. For example, large-scale interactive events, LSIE, you know, where maybe 600, 800, 1,000 people can be invited to a one big hall. And there are techniques to get information out of it. Conferences, workshops, people write papers, people write their thoughts, people make presentations. All of that can be used as a solid ground from which to derive what is the health of the organization like, and therefore, how do we proceed from there? Okay. So again, you are familiar with this. These are simple behavioral techniques that we always use. Group discussions. Again, something which you are familiar. Now, when you have interviewed people individually, why do you need to have a group discussion also? You see, the point is human behavior is not pure arithmetic that 2 + 2 will add up to 4. I'm sure from your experience, if you try to recall, you don't have to tell me who you are thinking about, but try to recall. I'm sure in your circle of neighbors, colleagues, whatever, there would be some people, when you talk one-to-one, they will, you know, talk a lot. They will share a lot of things, a lot of information. But when they are a part of a group, they just don't speak at all, right? Whereas there are some people who are bang opposite of this. Individually, they are not very forthcoming. But when you put them as a part of a group and somebody has made a point, this person suddenly wakes up and yeah, it has happened to me also. There's this, and he or she goes on and on and on. So there are some people who are more active in a group situation. There are some people who are much more active in an individual situation. And remember, the OD consultant, just like the doctor we talked about, must reach the right conclusion. If the OD consultant or the team of consultants or the internal consultants do not reach the right conclusions, how can they create an OD program that will not serve any purpose, because the problem diagnosis has not happened correctly? So if you use all these 4, then what happens? You get various kinds of leads. And if all of them are pointing in the same direction, you can be more or less sure that you are on the right track. It is exactly like anybody who has been told by a Dr. A to go for a heart surgery. Typically, you will find they go for a second opinion of an equally senior doctor. They just don't, kidney transplant, for instance. Some major operations, people do not go by the recommendation of one single doctor. Exactly the same way, these 4 techniques are used flexibly by an OD consultant or the team of consultants who derive various ideas from this as to what is the health of the organization. And if all 4 of them are pointing in a certain direction, obviously you are on much more solid ground. And therefore, if the diagnosis is correct, chances are that your OD program which you develop on that diagnosis will also be the right program for that organization. Yeah, questions, please. If you have any.
So I have a question, sir.
Please.
Rachna here. Good evening. First of all, I didn't wish you good evening.
No problem at all. Go ahead, Rachna, please.
Just tell me one thing, sir. If I'm not wrong, actually, I'm trying to match the things. Like when you are an OD consultant, the job becomes, as far as the job is concerned, the job is regarding HR planning, sir. HR planning, because there are certain techniques like Delphi techniques and all, by which you plan all this human resource. Is it that, sir? Is it that, sir, if I'm not wrong?
See, when you talk of the nominal group technique or the Delphi technique, all these are basically decision-making techniques.
Okay.
So any decision-making technique can be utilized if found valuable in a particular given scenario. There's no bar. You see, that is why I said OD by definition is very simple. But OD in practice is extremely complicated.
Yeah, because there are certain steps, and everything has to be, included. Has to be included, right, sir?
That's right. That's right.
Yes,
so
sir, that is
what you just mentioned, Delphi or nominal group technique.
Yes,
these
sir.
techniques are decision-making techniques. If you feel that whatever decision you need to take in an OD assignment, any technique of decision-making which you think is appropriate can be used.
Okay.
The point I'm trying to stress is, supposing you use, for example, the illustration I was giving, if I need a heart operation today, a major heart surgeon has told me to go ahead with it. What do I typically do? I say, okay, let me have a second opinion. Now I go to an equally senior doctor in another hospital. And when that doctor also says, yeah, I need a heart surgery, then I am quite sure that, there is no other option. I have to go for that surgery. I hope this example is clear. Then I will go back to OD.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely it's clear. What you have mentioned is clear. Actually,
So
I was thinking about...
if you just carry this exact example onto the OD scenario, what is your end objective? Whenever you are doing anything in management, I would always recommend two things. First, be clear about the objective. And second is, what are the resources you have at your command? So your objective is to improve the organization as far as OD goes. Right? So when you use a particular technique of decision making or a particular technique of data collection, if you use an alternate technique also, and both throw up the same results, are you not very, very confident that yes, we are on the right track, our diagnosis is right?
Yeah, definitely. We have to follow certain techniques and all this, because until now, we cannot be, we should not be biased about our decision only. We should
absolutely. And the more number of parameters indicate, or more number of methods indicate towards the same direction, you are on more solid footing. That is the whole. So therefore, we use all these four techniques in the right proportion. And we can use any decision-making technique. We have right now not reached the decision-making stage where we could use those techniques that you mentioned.
Yeah, but so these are part of human resource planning. If decision-making, anyway. So I think,
they're all interrelated, absolutely interrelated. See, if it is something like you have sugar with not the disease of sugar or diabetes, I'm not talking of that. I'm talking of you have sugar at home. You can use it for preparing kheer or a rasgulla or, any other stuff. So the point is, these techniques are all available. How and when to use it, for what purpose is a decision which is taken each time you sit down to decide.
That is the obvious, sir. Sir, that is the obvious, sir. That is obvious. Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Do we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Thank you. So last time I touched upon appreciative inquiry. Now, whatever this diagnostic model that we have traditionally been having, starting with Kurt Lewin in the 40s and 50s, he's a great guy who initiated this whole process. There, the only thing is, when I walk into a manager's room or a general manager's room or a CEO's room and start asking, what are the problems in your organization? I've been appointed by your board to do OD in your organization. Please tell me what are the problems you are facing. If that is my style of inquiry, I will put the man or lady on a defensive stance. Why so? Because if they list out too many problems, is it not an indication of failure on their part? That why are there so many flaws in their work? What have you been doing for years? Because in spite of your being there for years, there are so many problems. So there is a tendency, it's a human tendency not to highlight too many problems, because then it is a poor reflection on you. If you come to my place, will I want to tell you all the flaws at my place? then it will be a question of that I have not been keeping my house in order. So this was noticed. And that is where the concept of appreciative inquiry, somewhere in the, I think, 70s, it started off. Later on, I have given you some detail of how appreciative inquiry, the concept originated. You can use INQUIRI as you see here, or inquiry, ENQUIRI. Both are equally fine. And here AI stands for appreciative inquiry, not artificial intelligence, right? So now please read through this. Slide 67 we are on, right, Arvind?
Sir, we are on slide 66. I'll just switch on to slide 67.
Next is what I'm talking about. 66 we just finished with the techniques.
Yes, sir. Appreciative inquiry is 67.
That's right. That's right. So let them read through in a minute or two, then I can handle if there are any queries. Tell me when you finish reading. I just explained the first para. What is the problem with this diagnostic model? Do I continue? Have you read through?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the two paragraphs,
Yes, sir.
The first one is trying to tell you that that problem-centered approach, which we used to adopt right from the beginning, as Kurt Lewin laid it down. So we are asking the person, what are the problems in your organization? So the person is, there's every possibility the CEO, the GM, the managers would be hesitant to list too many problems, because then they are also a part of that. Why have they not been able to solve the problem? So they will not come out with the real issues. That is where appreciative inquiry as a technique came in. So instead of walking into a CEO's room or a vice president's room or GM's room and asking what is the problem, what do? I ask, Arey, your company has been doing quite well. It is 40 years in existence now. So many competitors came and, they could not last. Tell me some of the good things that you would have done over these years. Right? So then what happens? Since we are talking of the positives of the company, these gentlemen and ladies are very open about it. Oh, we did this, therefore we succeeded. Oh, we did that. Oh, this is the reason for our success. So they will definitely come up with lots of things. Once you have enthused them into sharing what is good about the organization, then you can gradually, they have built a confidence that here is a friend who's wanting to help, who's praising us for doing some good things. That is when you gradually come into, okay, now that I am also here, let's jointly think of what are the possible changes that we could bring about for the better. So instead of now starting with the problem, you have started with something positive in the company. And then when you ask for changes, let's see what we can do together to further improve the company. So you are not blaming them for the company being in a mess, but you are actually appreciating their efforts and now wanting to take the company further forward. So you start with an appreciation. They open up with you, they become friendly, they share a lot of things. And the simple question is, now that when I'm asking for changes that they want, aren't those exactly the negatives? Why do they want a change? because they have smelled something that this is not working or it will not work in the future. So when you talk of changes, you are putting it so positively that they will come up with it. You know. So there is a saying, I'm reminded, don't tell it to a diplomat, and I hope none of your close relatives are diplomats. It is said about diplomats that diplomat is a person who will in front of you that you get so enthused that you want, please tell me the way to hell. So that is the kind of motivation they can create for whatever they want. So an OD consultant has that kind of a role, that instead of starting with negatives, what ails you, what are the problems, please start with appreciation, which every human being likes. Then gradually build on that relationship that you have done. Maybe on the first interaction, you talk only of positives. Capture all the positives. No one will stop you from putting down your notes on the positive. Then gradually bring them on to what all changes we can bring so that the company improves further. Mark my words. It's not about taking your company from the dumps to betterment or turnaround. We are talking of improving the good things that are already there. So we start from a positive piece. That is the essence of the second part. So the last sentence, if you read, it focuses on an organization's success rather than on its problems. So it fits in with the human nature. Any questions on this?
No, sir.
Okay. Arvind, do we have time?
We have.
Sir, I have a. Are we just changing the semantics, or is it really a different approach? And does the role of the OD consultant actually change when you do this with an appreciative inquiry in mind? Does the role actually change slightly, or it is just semantics difference?
That's an excellent question you have asked, and I'm so happy that you have asked it. It is a bit of both. Because you see, in human behavior, positivity certainly works better to bring about motivation. Whether it is in the family, whether it is in the organization, whether it is in any club, society, generally, people are, I'm not saying right or wrong, and this is one caution I'll give you, never ever mix the concept of right and wrong with real and unreal. Right and wrong is a separate concept. Real and unreal is a separate. And the whole confusion comes when you mix the two. For example, right and wrong. Now, who doesn't know that telling a lie is right, is wrong, and telling the truth is right? That is a right and wrong concept. Everybody knows. But what is it that we are handling here in this world, and including all of us? Without even checking with you, I can safely say all of us would have told some lie someday, if not to anybody else, bringing up a small child. To make the child feel comfortable, how many lies have we used? Maybe on the same child, we would have told more lies than we tell the world already. So, but the intention of telling that lie is the question. So long as your intention is to help the child, to benefit the child, because the child's mind is not yet so much developed, you use a lot of excuses, a lot of stories, a lot of lies to make the child feel comfortable, and those changes work in favor of the child. So if your intention is right, no one blames you for telling a lie to the child. Exactly in the same way, but if somebody asks, is telling a lie right? Can you say it is right? Obviously not. So same way, there is a twin purpose here. What is your end objective? I told you right in the beginning and in between also, that in management we have, why in management? I do it all the time in personal life. What is my objective? I must be very clear. Once my objective is clear, then I have to, and these are basic questions in strategy also. So I have to find out what are my resources to reach that objective. And then I have to play with those resources in a manner that the objective is achieved. That is exactly what we do here. And that's why I said yes and no. Your end objective is to improve the organization. You also know in many cases that you have been roped in as an OD consultant because the organization has some issues, some problems. It is known to you. So your end objective is being to those problems. That is clear. Now the point is, by just going into the manager's offices, or general manager's offices, vice president's offices, and straight away starting with what are the problems that you are having, as your first question. Vis-a-vis, you are asking, your company has done, what are the good things that you have been doing? Which one will be more acceptable to the person? You don't forget your end objective is that. Why do you think in the first, those of you who were there in the first session, it would have looked completely way off from OD? Because I was talking of Krishna's leadership. Now, what do you find in Mahabharata? For every single important character in Mahabharata, there is some interaction that Krishna had with them. But does he use the same kind of logic or the same kind of tone of voice with different people? He handles Arjuna in a different way. He handles Yudhishthir in a different way. He handles when he talks to Vidur and Bhishma, who are supposed to be, the intellectuals. He is at a different intellectual level. When he talks to the Gadadharis, the bull-headed people like Bhim and Duryodhan and his own brother Balram and people like that, he is in a different tone. When he talks to Radha, he is in a different mood altogether. So the point I am making in that simile I am drawing is, your end objective remaining ethical side should win. So here your end objective is the organization should improve. I must find the best way to improve. But I can do it only when I diagnose the problem properly. So will I be able to diagnose the problem properly, realistically, by starting with a negative point or starting with a positive? That is the only game you are playing. You are not changing your end objective. That is why, I briefly explained those unstructured interview also. When you go with a specific questionnaire, people are not so open to telling you the details. And if you don't come to know the details, you will not be able to find a solution. So in order to reach that goal of knowing what exactly is right and what is not right, if you start on a positive note, your depth of understanding is likely to be more. And that is why you go into appreciative inquiry. It serves your purpose much better. वो कहते हैं ना हिंदी में, कान इधर से नहीं पकड़ो उधर से पकड़ लो kind of a thing. Your end objective remaining, can you touch your nose or not? So which way you do, which way you should do it, the way that will lead you to the correct diagnosis. That is the answer. I hope I have been.
So, sir, again a practical question कि आप इतना करने जाओ ना तो थोड़ा वक्त ज्यादा लगता है और client फिर ना uncomfortable feel करता है कि इतने वक्त आप आए और क्या किया आप लोग ने, तो फिर वो आपको issue आता है?
No, absolutely. But then I never take assignments when they are not willing to spend that time. I tell them on their face, you may lose an assignment or two. But you will build credibility. And I can give you personal examples. Not exactly an OD assignment that I lost, but one assignment comes to my mind. But if Arvind permits, I can share it. Because he said 6 to 7:30. That's why I'm seeking Arvind's permission.
So you can definitely, maybe we can take another 10 minutes.
Okay, fair enough. As the boss orders. So let me give you this example. See, many years back when we were in our initial years of consulting, there was a company which we came to know they needed a compensation survey. Most of you are HR people. So they wanted a comparison to be done with comparable companies. And some kind of suggestions as to what we should do with their compensation. So compensation survey. We were very keen to get that project because we were in our early stages. So I put in my heart and soul to work out the thing and try to give them the least expensive proposal so that we get it. So they called in for a presentation. They called in other 4 or 5 consultants also. So after about a week or so, we got a call from them saying that we have liked your approach and presentation. Your prices are also L2. You understand the tendering process, no? L1 is the lowest rate. L2 is next higher. L3 is next higher kind of thing. So out of the 4 or 5, we were L2. And they had liked our presentation the best. The method that we said, the kind of companies we had indicated would be the ideal companies to compare with, all that.
Right.
Sorry. So once that was done, they asked us that, okay, we have liked it, but now tell us, what is the time frame you will give us? I said, okay, give me a day to work that out, because we have to plan how many companies we have to visit, what data we have to collect, etc. So 10 companies were to be compared. So next day I got back to them and I told them that it will take minimum 2 months, most likely up to 3 months. That would be the range. Between 2 to 3 months, we should be able to give you the report. So then they said, no, that will be too much. We want to implement it fast, this, that, and the other. And there is another of those who were in terms of quality probably next to us, but a little higher rate. So they had liked that also to quite a degree. So then they said, no, we have talked to them and they said they can give it to us in a 1 month. So I said, okay, if you can give me 1 more day to think about it and recalculate if it is possible. So next day again, I called up and I said, I'm sorry. I know that, we would like to do this for you, but it is just not possible before 2 months. We have done all the calculations, checked out everything, and in all likelihood, it will take 3 months. That was the end of the story. We never heard from them. 2 years down the line, and we never got the assignment, obviously. 2 years down the line, we again get a call from them that we need to update our compensation and this. So that time I said, see, we would love to do it, but last time we had told you that, if you want to do a realistic study, it will take that much time. And we don't want to do a shoddy work. So it will again take that kind of time. So if you only permit us that much time, then only we will even quote. Otherwise, what is the point? It will happen like last time. And by the way, that's when I asked, by the way, those people who committed to you in 1 month, what happened? They said, please don't talk about them at all. They took 4 months to give it, and that too, it was not as we had expected. So now we have full confidence that you talk sense, and we want this time you should do it. So a client which had completely, ticked us off, or rather we ticked them off, I can't say, because we said we can't do it before 2 to 3 months. They called us back again because our credibility was established. So right in the beginning today, I have said that if you talk of OD, unless you are prepared for the long haul, I even tell these people who keep on doing these employee satisfaction surveys, employee engagement surveys, this survey, that survey, that my dear friends, if you do not intend improving a few things, accepting a few of the suggestions that come up and act on them, please don't go and keep on stirring up people, because that is why you hear back from the employees. What nonsense, you have come again to disturb us. You did nothing of the last time what we told you to.
Yes.
So it is a question of whether you are in the game for the long term, in which case building credibility is very important. And in my case, that is, I might be sounding to be boasting. Sumit Chaudhary is a yes or no person. If I cannot do it, I'll tell you I can't. You may not like it in the short run, but you will have respect for me in the long run, that this man doesn't, do here, there, and everywhere and doesn't keep his commitments. If I give a commitment, I will keep it. And in the unforeseen situation, I will call up much before time and tell you that this is the problem that has happened. Will you be able to give us a little time?
Makes sense. Yes, sir.
That is how you build credibility, particularly in consulting profession. It's all about your credibility. Right?
Absolutely.
So that is the thing.
Thank you so much, sir. That is very logical and very practical.
Yes. So we have had long years in this, so we know, and I have seen that side of the story also. First 10 years, I was very much inside and handling 22,000 people HRD. My time, the size of Escorts was 22,000 people. And then I became a one-man band from there. So, I have seen all this turbulence and everything, from big comfort to big turbulence to all sorts of things. So I can really have some example or the other out of my own experience.
You understood exactly what my issue was. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. So nice of you to say that. Thank you very much for asking the question, which gave me the opportunity to try and explain. Right, Arvind, sir? As you know, I don't disobey your orders. So it is up to you.
Sir, that was a wonderful experience to hear from you. And I know, a lot of other people here, they have other things to do. Otherwise, for me, I can hear you like, hours and hours. And OD is quite interesting subject for me.
It is a very, very interesting subject, but it needs time. As simple as that. It needs time.
Sir,
and I am carefully observing you are avoiding using sir. So I am losing lakhs of rupees here. Please use the word sir and immediately send a lakh to me.
Okay.
Arvind has become very sharp. Big problem. I will be a poor man in the next few days.
Yes. Okay. It is a smart move, but I'll also follow that. I'll ask another question. I know we are all late, but just one question, sir. Have you? Okay, Sumit, have you found that clients tend to have less patience when they are asking for solutions, and they don't even realize what they're requiring is OD. But they think it's the training. So how do you transfer this? Training ki demand aati and you realize it's an OD intervention that they require. And how do you transfer
it? This happens all the time. This happens, I would say, 90% of the times this is the scenario. They would expect too much. They would want a mini MBA in 3 hours.
Yes, exactly.
So I tell them. I tell them that only, that, I am definitely not as capable as you think I am, because I can't offer a mini MBA in 3 hours. And when I find that the client is becoming rude and giving me data that, this guy promised me to do in 10,000 and 20,000 and this, then I tell them, you see, in the market, there is Alto also, and a Land Rover or a BMW or a Rolls Royce also. So please go ahead and buy what suits you. So this has also happened.
Okay.
So rudeness, no, if there is a lack of understanding, then I request them that you have to give me enough time to explain things. But if you're always saying I don't have time, then, well, I can't do anything.
Makes sense.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Welcome. It's a pleasure. Arvind, all yours.
So,
I'm done.
Can we finish the session for today and then we can start on next Saturday, 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
Anyone, if they have any question from Sumit sir, they can ask and he can respond now. Or in case if someone actually comes up even later with any question, they can share it with me and I can share it with Sumit sir and we'll get back to the person. So if that is okay, can I just finish the session?
Yes.
Okay, so thank
all
you.
Yours.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
And
thank you, sir.
Again,
thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.